Crunch Time, a panel discussion about your favorite topic, sports.
Drew Brees is not a top 10 quarterback in NFL history. It's simple as that.
How do you say that?
Drew Brees, you cannot argue with stats.
And I know for a fact it's going to be the best team in the East. It is the Toronto Raptors because of Kawhi Leonard.
I'm going to talk about another team that I want to be a Cinderella story so bad, and that's UCF. I talked about it earlier. They're ranked 12th in the nation. They beat Auburn last year in their bowl game.
It's Crunch Time. Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Crunch Time, a panel discussion about your favorite topic, sports. I'm your host, Sam Getzinger. Alongside of me is Joey Erickson. In the middle, we have Alex Cotter, and then all the way down at the end, we have Ernie Cottier. So, guys, you guys ready to talk about some sports today?
I think so. Absolutely.
All right, let's get started right away. We got some breaking news. Star free agent outfielder Bryce Harper finally made his decision on a destination. Harper is taking his talents to Philadelphia to play under Gabe Kepler and the Phillies. The deal reported is a colossal 13 years, $330 million. We're talking money in the bank for Harper. Was this the right choice for Harper? Did Philly pay too much? What do you guys think? We're going to start with you, Joey.
I don't see how this isn't a good fit for them. I think it was a good sign. I mean, the Phillies won 80 games last year. They had but think about the Phillies, what they've done in the offseason. They've signed Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura, and JT Realmuto, who's a top 10 catcher. Segura has at least 150 hits in his past 3 seasons. And then you have young guys like Franco and Hoskins. And we all know they signed Harper not for hitting for average, it's for that big bat in the middle lineup that can drive in runs. And when you have Jake Arrieta and a top 3 Cy Young finisher last year in Aaron Nola, you got to be a contender this year, and I think they'll have a good chance at the East.
All right,
So,
Alex?
people are going to say, yeah, he doesn't have the best batting average. Well, his on-base percentage last year was .388, and that was one of the best in the majors, and he also led the league in walks last year. So when a guy gets on base, a lot more good things can happen. Again, they got Andrew McCutchen and Gene Segura to, be around him. I think this team went from being a playoff contender to a World Series contender.
Ernie, what do you got?
Okay, I'll say that it was a good deal for right now. You talked about having McCutchen with him as well. He does get on base a lot, but his batting average and defensively, he's a bit of a liability out there. Okay, this is a long-term deal. You're giving him a 13-year contract. That's the longest contract I've ever seen in Major League Baseball, $130 million. Try and get a smaller contract with that. I think the Phillies paid a little bit too much and too much time put into it. I mean, Machado's got better defense and better on-base percentage last year, and he kind of had an off year switching over to the Dodgers halfway through, and I don't think his contract was even as good as...
But they have the team to win now, and they're going to do anything to put themselves on top and separate from the rest of the pack, and I think they can do that with Bryce Harper.
I understand that, and it does give them a better chance, but at the same time, I think they paid too long term. If you're thinking about it in the long run, in a couple years, are they still going to be contenders?
I think they will. Yeah, they have such a young core with Hoskins and Franco and Herrera. They're really good young players, and they can just build around.
The Dodgers aren't going to the World Series this year. They don't have the same firepower they had in the last few
All right, guys,
years.
I'm going to cut you off here. I'm going to give this point to Ernie. I do like the arguments that he made about it's not going to help out the Phillies in the long run. But let's hop into our next topic. As the Bryce Harper's the biggest free agent, he's chosen his home, he's gone. We're only 1 month away from opening day in the MLB, and until then, we are going to do some division previews starting out in the West in the National League. The Padres made the biggest splash of the offseason by signing Machado. The Dodgers are still loaded with talent. The Rockies signed Arenado to a monster deal as well and have a pretty scary roster. The Giants missed out on the Harper sweepstakes but still have talent, and the Diamondbacks dealt star Paul Goldschmidt as well, losing Patrick Corbin and A.J. Pollock. What are your thoughts on the NL West, and how are teams stacking up for you guys? Alex, start us out.
I think he's going to be very competitive at the top with the Padres, Dodgers, and Rockies. All those teams are very dangerous. Padres, I think they do have a little bit of downside. Their pitching staff's not quite there. Dodgers still have enough firepower to win the division, and the Rockies are always a dangerous team, especially at home. They got Nolan Arenado, they got Carlos Gonzalez. Very dangerous team at home. They can hit bombs. And Padres signing Machado, and then they got Eric Hosmer and Will Myers around him too. I think that's a really solid big
I'm going to
three.
cut you off, Alex. We'll go over to Ernie.
I got to agree with the Machado getting added to the Padres. That was a huge move by them, but I still don't think they have enough firepower to actually win the division. Rockies are still very solid, but I'm going to give this one to the Dodgers. They won it. They won the National League last year. Yes, they lost Machado. They still have Justin Turner. He was incredibly clutch in the playoffs. Great batting average, great defensive player, and they've still got Clayton Kershaw on their team. Still a great starting pitcher.
Joey,
Yeah,
what
I'm
do you
gonna
got
be
for
I'm
us?
gonna be taking Colorado. I think they're very underrated. When you have Justin Blackmon at the top of your leadoff hitter, he's guaranteed almost 170 hits a year. This guy is so underrated. And you got Arenado and you got Dahl in the middle of the lineup. And then they just added David Murphy, which is a big pickup. He's a high on base guy that can get on base. And then when you have Arenado and Dahl hitting cleanup and stuff, they can drive him in. And the very underrated pitcher for them to start was Kyle Freeland, who came in and burst on the scene and won 17 games last year for
I
them.
worry about the consistency though all around on their pitching staff, and I think that's what's held them back in the few years.
That's definitely a question, yes.
I mean, that's why I have the number 2. I have the Dodgers, Rockies, Padres, Giants, then Diamondbacks in the ranking division, and I just feel like the Dodgers still have an all-around better team, and that's why I put them on top.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. The Dodgers still have the better team. I think the Rockies are still going to get in the wild card. I still think they're a playoff team, but I don't think they have just
I mean, they
enough
were
to
only-
get over the hump of the Dodgers.
They were only 2
right
games
there.
behind the Dodgers. I mean, I think they definitely do have a chance to get over that hump with the addition of David Murphy and stuff like that.
All right, guys, a lot of good conversation there. I'm going to give this point to Alex. He made up a lot of great points in his argument, but we're going to keep it on the topic of baseball, but we're going to switch over to the American League West. The Astros are looking to defend their division crown once again, but later last season, they put together a nice run with the talented young roster. The Angels were pretty quiet in the offseason, but still have superstar Mike Trout. The Mariners unloaded 8-time All-Star Robinson Cano and ace James Paxton. What's it looking like in the American League here? The Astros are the favorite, but can they make a run once again? Ernie, start us off.
Well, yeah, I've got to go with the Astros. They were just hands down the better team in that division than any others. And I think, honestly, they were the second best team in baseball last year. And some people might disagree with me here, but they had to face off against the Red Sox in the ALCS. I think they would have beaten the Dodgers if they had made it to the World Series there. Jose Altuve is just an absolute stud out there. Great defensive player, incredible defensive player, great batting average, gets on base, gets home runs. He's the complete package for them there, and the rest of the team is solid top to bottom there as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the Astros as well. I don't see any other team in the West that's going to compete with that pitching staff. I mean, the pitching staff is just unreal. And Oakland was good. I mean, they did win 93 games last year. They're no team, but they just lost one of their hugest hitters was Jed Lowry. I think they're a really high swing and miss team. They're kind of like hit or miss, a home run. I think that's just not going to bode well for them especially when you got to go up pitchers like Verlander and Cole and stuff like that. I just don't think that's going to work out for them. Take the division.
You know, I have the Astros Athletics battling for that top spot. I think the Athletics can really give the Astros a run for their money. They got Gold Glover, Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien, and they got arguably one of the best players in the division, Chris Davis, who hit 48 home runs last year. Very excited about this team. Granted, they don't play at one of the best stadiums, but I do think that they can give Alex Bregman and the rest of the Astros a very good run for their money.
So it's pretty much just a 2-team race here.
That's what I'm thinking. The Mariners, Texas is out of it. Texas is gone.
The Angels have a shot. You always have a shot when you have Mike Trout on your team.
They just don't have anybody around
They
him.
don't have anybody around them. That's a problem. But I do think if you have Mike Trout on your team, he's probably the best player in baseball.
Oh, for sure.
And that makes you
We
a
need
little bit of a
we need
contender.
Mike Trout in the MLB playoffs.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's
when
what
you got
hurt
a
the
team
MLB
like
in the last year. They don't have their best player in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
All right, guys, I'm going to give this point to Alex once again, picking up his second point in a row. That's our first set of topics there. We're going to toss it to break, but when we come back, we have collegiate basketball on the way for St. Cloud State men's and women's. They were able to pick up a win in the first round of the NSIC playoffs, and then we're also going to talk about some professional basketball as well with the Celtics kind of falling off. So keep it here on Crunch Time. We'll be right back in a second.
Hamilton with
Welcome back into Crunch Time, ladies and gentlemen, and now we're going to talk about some college basketball. The first round of the NSIC playoffs was underway last night, and St. Cloud State was able to defeat Upper Iowa in a high-flying showcase that included a 27-point performance from center Sean Smith, and the NSIC Player of the Year, Gage Davis, dropped his 7th 30-point game of the season. The Huskies will move on to play Wayne State in Sioux Falls this Sunday for this second round of action. The Cardinal and Black defeated Wayne State in Nebraska in their lone meeting this season. So what's your confidence meter heading into this matchup? Joey, start us off.
Well, I'm very confident in the St. Cloud State basketball team. They won 4 straight heading into the playoffs and against some really good top NSIC teams with MSU Moorhead and Northern State. They're really good, and the best thing about this is they're really hot coming into the playoffs. And as we all know, in the playoffs, the hottest team coming in, that can be a big nightmare for any team having to play them. And they're going to play Wayne State coming up, and they have absolutely destroyed them earlier in the season. And I have no reason to believe that they can't take it to the finals or
I'm
at
going
least
to cut
win
you
it.
off, Joey. Alex,
I
what do you
would
have?
agree with you. I think that Wayne State, that they're going to lose to, they're going to beat Wayne State. I think I'm expecting another big game from Gage Davis. I think they arguably have they have the most athletic team in the whole conference, and they did get hot at the right time, and their athleticism is going to take them to the championship. I see them as NSIC champions.
Ernie, what do you have for us?
I would completely agree with that. Their team is stacked top to bottom. Wayne State can't hang with them here. Gage Davis wins NSIC Player of the Year. Sean Smith wins Defensive Player of the Year in the same time. First player to get over 100 blocks in a season for St. Cloud State. And then Brinley Tyson winds up second team all-conference as well. This team is stacked. They can shoot. They can dunk. They're high-flying lobs all over the place. And Gage Davis, he had 30 points last night. He also had 9 rebounds and 8 assists. That's stuff in the stat sheet right there.
My prediction is 95-81 your St. Cloud State Huskies.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the whole field of the NSIC playoffs. Who could beat St. Cloud State if they were to make a run to the finals?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't even know. I really don't think there's a team that can beat them.
There's no team that.
I think
Northern State was the national runner-up last season.
They're too hot.
They're too hot. They have won,
hot.
a lot of their last 10 games. This is a really good team. I'm going to have to agree with you guys. You guys gave a lot of great points. I'm going to give this point over to Joey, picking up his first point of the night. But we're going to switch over from the men's to the women's team. Huskies Hoops fans can finally rejoice as the St. Cloud State women's team were able to break their streak of 5 straight first-round exits in the NSIC playoffs, including at the last 4 at home. This is where it gets interesting, though. The Huskies are set to play the number 8 seed, Bemidji State Beavers, who upset Concordia St. Paul in a wild game, shaking up the playoffs. With that being said, do you think this Huskies team can make a deep run in the NSIC playoffs? Alex, start us off.
I think they can. This team is very streaky. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak. I think they can continue that at least one more game to get them to the championship game. Yeah, Concordia lost yesterday, the 8 seed Bemidji State. And SCSU has beat Bemidji State twice this year. And it kind of just paints a clear path almost a clear path for them to the NSIC championship. I think Nikki Gilbot will lead them, and there's only one team that I really think that can knock them off, and that's going to be the UMD Bulldogs. They're playing very good. They got a very good defense.
All right, Ernie, what do you have for us?
Honestly, I didn't think they were going to get past the second round until Bemidji State pulled off that upset. It was an incredible game for them. Bemidji wins by 370-370, and now there's no reason that the St. Cloud State Huskies can't beat them in this next game. They beat them by 22 on February 2nd. And you had big games last night from Madeline Dominin at 27 points and 8 rebounds. Nikki Kilbotton has another double-double, 11 and 13. Tori Warts didn't even have her greatest game, and we know what she can do when she's hot. And this team is hot right now at the perfect time to make a deep run.
Exactly right, Joey. What do you have?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the Bemidji State was a huge upset for them, and it gives them a great chance to move on. I think they will beat Bemidji State, as you pointed to. I mean, they won by like 20 points both games this season against them. But I have them getting out after this next round to Duluth or Augustana. I feel like they're going to be too much for them. I know Tori Warts is having a great season, but I just don't think they're going to be able to sustain that into the championship, and I don't think they're going to win the NSIC.
I think there's some extra motivation for them because if they win, I mean, obviously, if they win the championship, I think that's the only way they get into the NCAA tournament. And so I think a lot of these senior leaders are going to step up here, and they want to get to that tournament.
I just don't know if Bemidji State is going to give them that competitive game to keep them in the right mindset heading into deeper playoff games where it's going to become more intense. Because I mean, the Bemidji games haven't been close this year, so I think that's where it's going to hurt them in the long run.
I think they're just too hungry. It's been so long since they've gotten past the first round. Now that they are, I think they're going to go as hard as they can in these next few games.
Okay, guys, so we're going to cut you off there. I'm going to give the point to Ernie. He made a lot of great points in that one. But we're going to transition over from collegiate basketball to professional because things in Boston are still falling downhill as the Celtics dropped their 4th straight game last night in a tough 97-92 loss to Portland. Most noticeably, star point guard Kyrie, there it is, Irving, voiced his displeasure with the team multiple times throughout the season. This is a different lineup with Kirby and Gordon Hayward bringing back many imagine things coming together sooner than they have. Should the Celtics be concerned about what's going on? Ernie, start us off.
They should absolutely be concerned about what's going on. Okay, Kyrie Irving's their best player, and he's not happy. He's not playing well with them right now. Gordon Hayward, they expected him to be a lot better than he was, coming off a nasty injury. Okay, it's going to be hard for anyone to bounce back that quickly. And I think the bar was set a little too high for Jason Tatum going into this season. All right, he played great. He played great in the playoffs last year especially, but you can't expect him to be that great that quickly. It's his second year. The team's not working as well together as people thought they would. Stevens was getting all these mentions for Coach of the Year and all this last year, and he hasn't put them together yet.
Joey, what do you have?
The problem is Kyrie is gone. I mean, I think he's gone unless they win to the finals, or go to the finals and win it, but I just don't see that happening. I mean, it's just Brad Stevens is the most important asset for the Celtics. I mean, he made Isaiah Thomas a MVP candidate. Jay Crowder, first team all defense. It's just, he is so important that his offense and system just don't run around a primary ball handler like Kyrie. He needs the ball in his hand a lot, and it just doesn't flow the right way. And I just don't
Joey,
think
I'm
it's
going to
working.
cut you off. We'll go over to Alex.
You're right. The system isn't right for Kyrie. I mean, right in the past 4 games, you know, he's getting starter minutes, but they're getting bench player results from him. And you know, in the last 4 games, 27 minutes, and I think he is averaging like 11 points or something like that. Terrible numbers. And Brad Stevens is arguably one of the most talented teams on paper that Brad Stevens has ever had in his coaching career. And the fact that they're struggling is a little concerning for me. He needs, I don't know if it's a control of the locker room, but obviously Kyrie is supposed to be a leader on the team, and his attitude is not reflecting that. So I think he's out.
Yeah, when I watched last night, he just looks disengaged. I mean, I think in the playoffs, it's not going to really be as much as a big factor. I can see them getting to the second round because if they're going to face somebody like Philadelphia, they have their number. But I mean, to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it's going to be real tough when you got teams like Milwaukee and Toronto.
They're statistically a better team without Kyrie.
That is very true.
See, the thing is, the Kyrie is so clutch down the stretch. I agree
That's why
completely.
I'll take
He's going to be
Kyrie,
gone, but in
All
the
right,
playoffs,
guys,
that's
I'm
when
gonna
you
cut
need
you off.
him.
A lot of good banter here. I'm going to give this point to Joey. I agreed with a lot of his points, but with that being said, we're going to throw it to break. But coming up, we have a lot of topics in the NFL to cover, so make sure to keep it here on Crunch Time. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Crunch Time. Before we get going with some more topic, let's give you a scoring update. They're all tied at 2. So keep in mind, these next 2 topics are going to be really important. We'll start it off in the NFL. The Le'Veon Bell saga in Pittsburgh is officially over as the Steelers chose not to place the franchise tag on him, making him a free agent. The All-Pro running back did not play last year. He was over contract dispute with the team, but now the free agent is free to sign wherever he wants. Where do you guys think is the best destination for Bell? Once again, this is the big crunch here, so this topic is worth 2 points. Joey, start us off.
Alrighty, well, I think it was a good decision for Le'Veon to kind of step up and say, I want my money, and I think that was a good idea because, I mean, he is a top 5 running back when he's playing. He's a 1,200 yard rusher, and he's one of the arguably the best pass catcher out of the backfield, at least 70 receptions when he plays a full season. I think the best place for him is probably going to be the Jets or Tampa Bay because I like the Jets because Sam Darnold, really young quarterback, will take a lot of pressure off of him because he has a lot of promise, and you got good wide receivers and Quincy Enunwa and Roby Coleman. And then for Tampa Bay, I think you got to have that extra threat for Mike Evans because Mike Evans is kind of like the only primary wide receiver.
We're going to cut you off, Joey. We'll go over to Alex.
I think it's going to be the Jets. You know, they did not get justifiable returns from Isaiah Crowell, and Bilal Powell is a 30-year-old coming off neck surgery. He's going to be a free agent. And Sam Darnold needs a legit back to, obviously, yes, ease the pressure. You know, you look at Baker Mayfield. He had Nick Chubb last year. Josh Rosen, you know, things didn't work out so well for him, but he at least had David Johnson's backfield, Josh Allen with LaShawn McCoy. And, you know, Bell could be a major asset for the brand new coach, Adam Gase, with the New York Jets.
Ernie, what do you have for us?
I'm going to disagree. I don't think he's going to the Jets. First and foremost, what has Le'Veon Bell been on his whole career? Winning team. Pittsburgh Steelers have been a solid team. They did not make the playoffs last year. First time in a while. He didn't play. I think that kind of proved his point of how important he is to a team. I think he's going to go to the Houston Texans. Houston Texans have enough cap space to sign him. They've got a great young team. They've got Deshaun Watson, a good quarterback there, absolute stud of a wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and then a solid defense headlined by Watt and Clowney out there. I think that's also a bigger city he wants to go to. I don't think he wants to go to a small market. He's a flashy guy. He wants to go somewhere where he can get his money and still live his life the way he wants to.
If he wants to go to a big market, then why not go to New York? He's got a big personality, and a big personality needs a big city. I think he's going to the Jets hands down. I think they got a very good upside in the next few years. Granted, I do think he wants to win, but I think he might be okay waiting a year or two to win.
Yeah, I don't think you can say he really cares about winning, because I mean, if you really wanted to win, you would stay with the Steelers and make a playoff run. I mean, obviously he wanted his money. If you want to win, you would stay with that team. You got all the right pieces around you.
He wanted his money and he wants to win. He wants his money. He wants to win. He wants to still be that big
and he wants
player.
to sign a long-term contract, which you would want to do
He
with
would
the
not
Jets,
get that with the Steelers.
with a starting quarterback like
I know he
Darnold,
wouldn't
a
get that.
first-round draft pick that can stay and you can develop with Darnold and your other receivers. And if you draft well with a good defense, they'd have a great
core.
I understand they got a nice young core, but Watson's still just as young a quarterback as Darnold
and they're a
is.
first-round exit almost every time.
Okay,
That's not a winner.
maybe Bell can push him over the line.
And
When's the last time the Jets made the playoffs?
Hey, guess what? Tom Brady's getting old.
don't think
The
so.
Jets are going to be the next team
Yeah,
after Tom Brady.
Brady's been getting old for 10 years now, okay? I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, guys, I'm going to cut this off. That was a great argument there. I'm going to give this point to Ernie. I agree with him. I just don't think the Jets is the right place to go. So we'll give you our final topic here in the first round, and then we'll announce a winner later. And we got some more news buzzing around the NFL, and it's the comeback of the 11-time Pro Bowl tight end Jason Witten, the 2-time All-Pro, spent this past season in the broadcast booth for the Monday Night Football, but he decided to return to the Cowboys on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. What do you guys think about this move, and do you think Witten is fit to come back for Dallas? Alex, start us off.
I'm a big fan of Jason Witten. Even though I'm not the biggest Cowboys fan, he didn't belong in the booth. I think it's a position that the Cowboys kind of struggled in last year. They need that veteran presence back in the locker room and in the huddle. I think when he talks, players listen. And for a team that's very close to putting it all together, I think it is one of the best moves for them to bring back a veteran like Jason Witten.
All right, Ernie, what do you have?
I'd agree with you there. They're really not bringing him back for him to win games on his shoulders, okay? His last season there, he had 560 yards and 5 touchdowns. Is he going to do any better than that? No. He's 36 years old at this point, but he will be a great veteran leader in that locker room. Encouraging for a young team that has playoff experience a little bit. In these last few years, they've hit the playoffs a couple times, and I think it's a win-win for both teams. It's even a win for Monday Night Football as well.
Joey,
All
what
I
do you
gotta
have?
say is, you love to see it. You love to see it. I love Jason Witten, man. All-time leader in games played for the Cowboys, receiving yards and receptions. I mean, why not bring him back? You got Nick Schultz and Jarwin, pretty young tight ends. You can learn a lot from him. And, I mean, this is a very young Cowboys team that has a chance. I mean, Jerry Jones is probably, hey, come back, try to get that ring that you never got. And, I mean, I think this puts them, and you can imagine Jason Witten making some big third-down conversions in some big games, because Dak Prescott loved Jason Witten. It's kind of a safety net, and I think, why not bring him back? It's only $5 million.
How much production is he going to have, though?
Oh, I think he's going to kind of take over the role that Gronk had. I mean, it was limited, but I know that Gronk towards the end of the season, he became like the best blocking tight end in the NFL. It was less about him catching passes, more about him blocking. I think he might kind of take over that role.
He's going to be the third down safety net, and he's going to teach these guys like Schultz that need a little better time blocking, because obviously Jason Witten's one of the best tight ends ever of blocking and catching the ball.
He's arguably one of the best tight ends in the red zone.
I'm going to cut you guys off. I'm going to give this point to Joey. You made a lot of great points there, but with that being said, that wraps up our regular topics. We'll throw it to break, but when we come back, we'll announce the winner. So keep it here on Crunch Time. Welcome back into Crunch Time, and, well, we have a winner making his first appearance on Crunch Time and picking up his first win. So far, you're 1-1. Ernie finished with 4 points. Coming in second place was Joey Erickson with 3 points, and then Alex Cotter was down in the hole with 2 points. So, Ernie, we're going to give you some time here. You're going to talk about whatever topic you want. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to talk about a little-known team. Well, not little-known, but small market team, Sacramento Kings, all right? This team rebuilt so quickly. A couple years ago, everyone was writing them off for dead for giving up Boogie Cousins and getting back what they did. Everyone thought that was a terrible trade. Buddy Hield's three-point shooting percentage, incredible. They got Bogdanovich is hitting shots left and right. They gave the Bucks, who is personally my favorite team, but #1 record in the NBA, they gave them a run for their money last night. Put it all the way into overtime with them, and Fox has shown that he's even a better player than I think Lonzo Ball. and no one saw that coming as well. So
Will they make the playoffs this year?
I think they will. I think they'll make it as either an 8 or a 7 seed. I think the Lakers will sneak into the playoffs as well with them.
Why
But
do you think so?
I don't think the Kings will win this year, but it's going to be good experience. I think they'll make it an entertaining show, probably playing against the Warriors or the Rockets or Nuggets in that first round. But I don't think they'll win, but it'll be good experience, and they're a fun team to watch.
So how far do you think they'll get in that playoffs if they go against the Warriors, like you say?
They'll win 1, they'll lose 4. They're not going to win a series against the Warriors, but I think they can steal a game from them. They're young, they're fast, they're entertaining to watch. It'll be fun games to watch, and it'll be an all-California playoffs, you know.
All right, cool. Well, with that, Sacramento Kings, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for joining us on Crunch Time. Big winner here, Ernie. Have a great night, everybody.